Hello friends, I hope you are all doing well. But tonight is going to be a little different because this story will blow your mind. Stay with me till the end, because the ending is something you could never imagine. My life had always been ordinary. A small town, a modest neighborhood, an old house, peaceful nights and quiet days. I never thought that one day this house would test my courage, my peace, and even my faith. It all began the day my father decided that we would sell our old house and move into my grandmother's ancestral home in the village. That house had been abandoned for years, ever since my grandmother passed away, because nobody was willing to live there. People said things lived in that house, but my father was a stubborn man. He always said ghosts and spirits don't exist, it's all just superstition. There were 5 of us who moved. My father, mother, myself, my little sister, and my cousin who came to stay with us for a few days. The house was very old, cobwebs on the ceiling, black damp stains on the walls, and a musty smell rising from the floor. But the scariest thing was the emptiness that lingered everywhere. It felt as though the walls had not heard a sound for centuries. The first night passed without much incident, but on the second night, while we were all asleep, suddenly the sound of dishes crashing came from the kitchen. Father immediately got up and turned on the lights to check. Everything was in place. Not a single dish was out of order. It must have been the wind, Father muttered, but I could clearly see the fear on my mother's face. She knew. Here, even the wind doesn't blow without permission. On the third night, I was awake late. My eyes kept drifting toward the old wardrobe in the corner. Suddenly, it felt like a faint knock came from inside. My heart began pounding. I woke my cousin. "Hey, did you hear that too?" He rubbed his eyes sleepily and said, "Don't be silly. Go to sleep. Nothing's here." But just as he turned over, the knock came again. This time louder. Sweat broke out on our faces. Gathering courage, I went near the wardrobe. Slowly, I turned the handle and opened the door. Inside were only old clothes and books. But as soon as the door opened, a cold gust of wind rushed through the room. Where did this wind come from? "The windows are shut," I whispered with a trembling voice. My cousin stayed silent. His eyes were fixed on the dark corner inside the wardrobe as if he could see something. Suddenly, my sister's scream shook the whole house. We rushed to her room. She was trembling in bed, pointing toward the window. Someone was standing there, outside the window. We opened it immediately, but outside was only the silent courtyard and the dark night. Now Mother was crying, repeating, "I told you not to come here. This house is cursed." Father got angry and scolded everyone. "Enough. It's all imagination. No one is here." But after that night, things got worse. On the 4th night, just as we turned off the lights to sleep, heavy footsteps echoed on the roof. It sounded like something large and heavy was moving around. Father mustered the courage to climb up and check. The roof was completely empty, but in the dust, fresh footprints were clearly visible, and they weren't human. They were big, strange, and crooked. Father hid this from us so we wouldn't panic, but I had seen his pale face and trembling hands. That same night, around 3 a.m., as I lay awake, I heard a whisper right by my ear. "This is not your house." My eyes shot open. The room was empty, but that cold voice still echoed inside my head. Now I was sure this house wasn't empty. Something, or someone, was living here with us. The next morning, no one spoke of the night before, but our tired faces, sleepless eyes, and heavy silence told the story. Even in daylight, the house's atmosphere felt strange, almost as if the walls were watching us. At noon, I sat in the courtyard. Suddenly, the old rusty swing hanging in the corner began, moving back and forth. The air was still, the trees didn't stir, but the swing rocked on its own. My chest tightened. When I looked up, I thought I saw a shadow in the old window on the roof. I ran inside, but the room was empty. That evening, my mother began reciting verses from the Quran. For a moment, peace settled in the house, but soon, faint whispers rose, blending with her recitation. The words weren't clear, but it was like someone was answering. One whisper for every verse. Mother's hands trembled and she stopped. Instantly, the door slammed shut with a bang, as if pushed from outside. Father opened it, but no one was there. That night, we all slept in one room. Fear had bound us together. As I lay staring at the ceiling, suddenly, faint knocks began on one of the walls. It sounded like something was trying to break through. From the inside, Father called out, "Who's there?" No answer. Just the knocking growing louder. Then suddenly silence, followed by a chilling laugh that spread through the entire room. Everyone woke up. Mother began reciting the Quran again, but my sister screamed and pointed. "There, look." In the corner of the room within the shadows stood a black, misty figure. It had no face, only two glowing white orbs where the eyes should be. It stood silently, staring at us. Father quickly turned on the lights. In a blink, the shadow vanished, but dark handprints remained on the wall. The next morning, we decided we couldn't stay here any longer. But Father insisted it was all imagination. If we run away, people will laugh at us. We didn't argue further, but inside, the fear rooted deeper. Strange things kept happening. Water would flow on its own. Windows would slam open. Footsteps would echo in the night. But the most terrifying incident happened one night around 3 a.m. The door creaked open by itself. A cold wind blew out the lamp, plunging us into darkness. Heavy footsteps crept across the floor, slowly nearing our beds. Held my breath and shut my eyes. But then I felt it. A hand hovering just above my face and warm breath on my nose. I wanted to scream, but no sound came. Suddenly, my sister shrieked. Father lit the lamp quickly. We saw her bed, and at the headboard stood a tall, dark figure. Its arms were long and twisted, fingers scraping the wall, leaving deep claw marks. Mother raised her voice in prayer, and the verses filled the room. The black figure screamed and vanished like smoke. On the wall where it stood, 5 long claw marks remained as though dug deep into the plaster. Now we all knew this house was not meant for humans, but the problem was, we had nowhere else to go.